Hello friends, good afternoon. Welcome to Chandu Biology classes. So, we are going to discuss Indian polity in this class like we have done in the previous two classes. So, when it comes to Indian polity, already we have discussed the basics when it comes to who formed the Indian constitution, that is what was the body that was involved in making of the Indian constitution. We learnt about Constituent Assembly. We also learned who gave the idea of Constituent Assembly at the world level and also at the India level. It was Bal Gangadhar Tilak who gave the idea of Constituent Assembly for the first time in India. Okay, and when it comes to formal demand, it was made by M. N. Roy. That journey completely we saw, and also the Congress made the demand for Constituent Assembly in 1937. And like I told you, the carrot the British started giving for Indians to participate in the Second World War, that is, first thing is August Offer, then Cripps Mission. Okay, the idea of Constituent Assembly which they gave, that was not suitable for us, and also the idea that was given by Cabinet Mission. The Cabinet Mission, the chairman was who? Sir Patty Clarence, A.V. Alexander, okay, another person is Stafford Cripps itself. Okay, under them the Cabinet Mission, okay, the idea which was proposed by them for Constituent Assembly, that was fairly successful and also it was accepted. As per that mission, the total of number of members in the Constituent Assembly should be 389, and also they said that the Constituent Assembly should be partly elected and also partly nominated. Okay, elected from British provinces and nomination from princely states. So, these are all the things we learnt, and also when it comes to the formation of Constituent Assembly, how the elections took place, it was indirect election, and also who won the majority of the seats, it was Congress, and also the Muslim League did not join the Constituent Assembly, and there are two important personalities, Mahatma Gandhiji and also Muhammad Ali Jinnah. These two persons did not join the Constituent Assembly. Alright, then some other facts also we learned, that is first meeting took place in 9 December, okay, and that is 1946, and second meeting took place on 11 December 1946, and the permanent chairman, that is permanent president, was Shri Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, and vice president was H.C. Mukherjee. All these facts we already learnt, okay, we already gone through it in the previous class. And after that we learned the sources of the constitution, very important topic, sources of the constitution, because you know that from what are all the sources that the constitution was made, that is what are all the constitution that the Indian constitution makers referred in order to frame the constitution of our own, that is the Indian constitution. Like we started with the biggest source of the Indian constitution, I told you it is people. Apart from that, if I talk, that is what is the biggest source of the Indian constitution, it is Government of India Act 1935. After that we learnt US constitution and various features that are present in US constitution, that is adopted in Indian constitution. Then we learnt what is that, that is we learnt British constitution. After that we learnt Irish constitution, accordingly we learnt French, Canadian constitution, South African, Australian, Weimar, okay, then Japanese constitution, all these constitution, Russian also we learnt. Okay, based on that we solved certain questions also in the previous class. Got it? Now in this class, okay, we will be discussing about very important topic, that is we are going to discuss about parts and schedules of the Indian constitution. Parts and schedules of the Indian constitution, very important topic, parts and schedules of the Indian constitution. This is the topic that we are going to discuss in today's session. Very important, because this is a high weightage topic. Okay, definitely questions will come, because already questions has appeared from this topic. Okay, so definitely please pay more attention and listen to the class. Highly beneficial class this one, because from this topic questions are coming repeatedly in most of the examination, competitive examinations. But before this I would like to give a brief information about the courses that are coming up in our Chandu Biology classes. So, first thing is you have to note that here Chandu Biology classes under the TGPSC PGT. TGPSC PGT, for this examination we are providing biosciences. Okay, we are providing biosciences, that is paper 3, paper 2, that is more of B.Ed level, that is B.Ed syllabus, that will also be covered, and also general studies paper 1 as of now we are covering. Okay, same way we will be covering for TGPSC PGT also. Okay, dedicated session will be there for general studies paper 1, everyday classes will be there. Okay, for any details you can contact this number or visit our branch which is at Narayanguda. And also when it comes to new batch, this is starting from 1st August for TGPSC PGT. Now when it comes to our current batch, that is TGPSC JL and DL, okay, as of now, like you know, we are having general studies paper 1 classes also, botany and zoology classes also. Previously we had only core paper, that is botany and zoology, but we are having, from this time we are having general studies paper 1 classes also, that is we are having not just general studies, even general ability, that is logical reasoning, and also English classes will also be provided. Got it? So, do not miss this opportunity. For any details you can contact on this number or visit our branch at Narayanguda. Okay. The new batch is starting from 1st August. Okay, please remember the date. The new batch is starting from 1st August and you can enroll in the batch. Fine. So, let us continue our discussion. So, like I told you, so today we will be discussing about parts and schedules of the Indian Constitution. Okay. So, parts and schedules of the Indian Constitution is a very important topic, because any competitive exam they can ask, they are asking questions, okay, from parts and schedules, especially schedules. Okay, schedules, they can interpret the question in various way, again they can ask the question in very depth level also. But when it comes to JL and DL, you have to know which schedule talks about what, that is more than enough. But when it comes to other competitive examination, they will go in depth. Okay, for example, whether judicial review is available for 9 scheduled topics. Okay, whatever is kept under 9 schedule, whether judicial review is applicable or not. Such kind of questions are also being asked in various other competitive examination. But when it comes to JL and DL, that much depth is not required, but at least you should know a rough idea about what the each of the schedule talks about. Okay, what each of the schedule talks about, that rough idea you must have. Okay, 9th schedule is talking about land reforms, correct? That much you should know. Okay, that much basic idea you must know. Forget about judicial review when it comes to land reforms and all, that is not required for you people when it comes to JL and DL. Okay, now let us start with our discussion, that is parts and schedules of the Indian Constitution. Initially we will be discussing about parts and then we will go to schedules. Also, when I told about parts and schedules, when I talk about parts and schedules, I will also tell you the tricks to remember the parts and schedules. Otherwise, you will not be able to remember. You have to by heart and you may not be effectively able to remember that if you by heart it. I will give you certain tricks through which you can remember it better. Okay. Now, let us start our discussion on parts and schedule of the Constitution. So, first of all, you have to understand that parts means you have to understand Constitution is a single book. If Constitution is separated into various books, then each book is called parts. Okay. And in a Constitution, if you are having table of contents or the index page, that index or table of content, that content is can be referred as schedules of the Constitution. Okay. Parts means you can consider them as chapter, and index means table of contents, that you can consider them as or refer to it as schedules. Okay, this is the difference you must know. Now, let us start with parts of the Constitution. As you can see, the original Constitution. What do you mean by original Constitution? The Constitution as of 1950 January 26. So, whenever I use the word original Constitution, it is the Constitution of 1950 January 26. At that time, we had 22 parts. How many parts were there? Original Constitution, 22 parts. But as of now, in the present Constitution, we have 25 parts. But we are not bothered about 25 parts, we are bothered about 22 parts. Okay, questions are coming from the original Constitution. What are the important parts that are there? Okay, those 22 parts we have to go through it and also remember it. Okay, if they ask part 22, what is the 22nd part? You should be able to answer. You should be in a position to come up with what is in the part 22. Okay, like that. All right. So original Constitution 22 parts, present Constitution 25 parts. They can ask a question, factual question, that how many parts are there in the present Constitution? It is 25. If they ask original Constitution, it is 22. Okay. So, let us start with each of the parts. First, let us understand the parts, then I will tell you the mnemonics. Okay. Part 1, see here. Part 1, see here. Part 1 is talking about union and its territory. Okay. It is not union territory, please understand, it is different. It is talking about union and its territory. Okay, union means what? It is nothing but India. India and its territory. That is India and its territory. That is our country and its territory means what are the territory, that is what are the states that we have. Okay, what are the borders that we have, what are the coastline areas that is within us. Okay, that is the meaning of union and its territory. It is not union territory. Union territory is completely different. This is union and its territory. I have underlined the first word, that is union, U, because I will tell you the reason when I tell the mnemonic. Okay, union and its territory, that is what? Part number 1. Okay, second part is citizenship. Okay, citizenship is borrowed from which Constitution? Citizenship, I told you single citizenship. It is borrowed from UK, that is British Constitution. We have single citizenship, USS dual citizenship, I told you in the previous class. Likewise, everything is connected when we study polity. Okay. So, when I talk about citizenship, this is part 2. Okay. Part 2 is citizenship. We are having single citizenship. I want to learn the first letter, that is C. Okay. Please go through it. Okay. Please remember this. Next is part 3. It is fundamental rights. Okay. Fundamental rights is part 3, which is very important chapter, or very important when you talk about Indian Constitution. Fundamental rights, you are talking about rights of the citizens, rights of the common people. Okay. So, fundamental rights are the rights which are very important for the holistic development, that is the comprehensive development of each and every individual. Okay. That is why fundamental rights are very important. It is present in which part? Part 3. Okay. There can be a pertinent question in your examination. Which part? It is part 3. Okay. Next we have is part 4, directive principles of state policy. Fundamental rights are especially for the common people and the individuals. Okay. When I talk about directive principles of state policies, these are the directives. These are the directives given by the constitution to whom? It is given by the constitution to the state. State here does not mean Telangana state, Karnataka state, Maharashtra state, no. State here refers to the government. Okay. When I talk about fundamental rights, there I will tell you what is a state. Okay. As of now, what you will think state means, you will think that a geographical area. Okay. It is not just that, there is a wider connotation to state. Okay. As of now, just understand state means it is a government. Okay. Directive principles of state policy means it is giving the directives to the government, please implement these policies or please bring these laws so that there is welfare of the people. Okay. Please bring these laws so that there is welfare of the people. Please bring these laws so that more jobs are created and there is welfare of the people. For example, I am telling. Okay. So, please bring these laws so that there are rights of the workers are protected, like that. For example, uniform civil code, that is also a direct principles of state policy. As of now, we do not have uniform civil code, that is present in article 44. It talks about uniform civil code. The government is trying to bring in uniform civil code. There are pros and cons. There are people who want uniform civil code and there are more people who do not want uniform civil code. First of all, you should understand what is uniform civil code. Uniform civil code means, that means not the uniform what you are wearing. Uniform means it is similar. Okay. It is similarity in laws. Which laws? It is talking about personal laws. Okay. Personal laws. So, when I talk about personal laws, suppose when I talk about personal laws, it is related to marriage. When there is marriage, there will be divorce also. As of now, it is very high. Marriage, divorce, okay, and also property, inheritance, like this. For such type of things, we have personal laws. Okay. Under Hinduism or Hindu personal law is completely different than Christian personal law. Similarly, it is completely different from Islam personal law. Okay. When it comes to divorce, we follow certain procedure. Okay. But in Islam, you might have heard about triple talaq. That has been abolished by the government as of now. Earlier there was triple talaq. Okay. If you say triple talaq, that is 3 times if you say talaq, there would have been divorce. Okay. So, they want to make a law where all the religions are following the same thing, same law when it comes to personal laws. Okay. Be it for marriage, divorce, property, inheritance, etc. Adoption of children, for that also personal laws are required. Okay. So, personal laws means, see, Islam will have one personal law, Hinduism will have one personal law, Christianity will have one personal law. So, separate personal laws are there. So, you club it and make a single personal law which is uniform for all the religions, not just these three, for all the religions. That is called uniform civil code. Okay. That is called uniform civil code. This is not a fundamental right. Okay. This is a directive principles of state policy. So, what it can do? The government can bring in a law to enforce this. Enforce this means to implement this. Okay. To implement this. So, this is a directive principles of state policy. Okay. For directive principles of state policy, if they are not implemented, you cannot go to the Supreme Court. But when it comes to fundamental rights, if they are not implemented, if a right is not protected or if you are not given the right, that time you can go to the Supreme Court. But if this is not implemented, IRU cannot go to Supreme Court, because directive principles of state policy, they are not enforceable. What do you mean by enforceable or not enforceable? I will tell you when I talk about fundamental rights. and also DPSP. For now, understand briefly, enforceable means suppose if my right is violated, I can go to the Supreme Court or High Court, then they will check that whether my right is violated or not, then they will make sure that my right is given. That is the meaning of enforcing the right, okay, enforcing. But directive principles of state policy cannot be enforced, they are not enforceable, that is I cannot go to the court. Okay, this much background is enough when it comes to DPSP. So, part 3 is what? Fundamental rights. Part 4 is? Part 4 is, I am telling, DPSP. Okay. Part 5 is fundamental duties. Actually, it is given as part 5. Actually, in the original constitution, it is given as actually part 4A. Fundamental duties is part 4A. When I talk about fundamental duties, it is actually not in part 5. Okay, it is part 4A. Okay, because fundamental duties was not there in original constitution. It came into being in 1976 through the amendment. Okay, through 42nd amendment. I told you 42nd amendment is also called as what? Mini constitution. Good. So, there can be a question, which of the following amendment is also called mini constitution? They can use 42nd, they can use 24, they can use 44, they can use 52nd. The answer is what? 42nd. 42nd constitution amendment is also called as what? Mini constitution. I will write it down so that you remember. 42nd CAA means, whenever I use CAA means constitutional amendment. Okay, 42nd constitutional amendment means it is also called as what? Mini constitution. Mini constitution. Please focus, whatever is done in the class, please keep revising. I will share the notes today, all these things with you people, because in next week you will be having the test also on the topics which we have done. Okay, don't worry, it will be based on whatever we have discussed. Okay, it will be of that level itself. Okay, so please keep focusing. If you have to try to study at the end, you will not be able to remember. Just keep revising, it will be easy for you. So, I was talking about uniform civil code. Next is fundamental duties, is part 4A. It is given as part 5, not a problem. Next, part 6, it is union government. Okay, part 6 is what? Union government. Okay, union government. Under union government, there are so many things that come. Okay, if I write union government here, under union government, there are so many things that come. Okay, union government means there is a president, there is a prime minister and council of ministers, there is attorney general, there is CAG, comptroller and auditor general. These are all the people who come under union government. Next part is nothing but state government. Part 6 is union government, part 7 is state government. Under the same thing comes, instead of president we will have governor, prime minister instead of that CM and council of ministers, attorney general instead of that we will have advocate general. Okay, CAG will be the same for both center and state. Okay, only one CAG will be there. Okay, CAG office. Now, I was talking about part 6. Part 7 is what? State government. Okay, part 6 is what? State government. As you can see, part 6. So, part 6 is union government, part 7 is state government. Okay, part 7 is state government. Now, part 8, union territories. Part 8, union territories. First of all, I should have asked this question beginning itself. In India, don't Google it. In India, as of now, we have how many states and union territories? This is my question to you. How many states do we have as of now? States. Huh? How many states? 32. You are close but not correct. You? States. Rajya. 34. Okay, wonderful. 20? 28. Okay. 28 states. Okay, what about union territories? How many union territories do we have? I don't know, maybe. Okay, maybe how much? 4 or 5. Okay. Maybe how many ice creams you eat in a day, like that? Maybe 5 ice cream, 4 ice cream, 3 ice creams or 3 chips, like that you are telling. Okay, fine. So, in India as of now we have 28 states and 8 union territories. Okay, 8 union territories. Already we were having 29 states, but the statehood was of Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir was removed and it was made a union territory of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Okay. So, although Telangana was made in 2014, we got, that time we were having 29 states. Now, it again became to 28 states because Jammu and Kashmir was removed from statehood. Okay. That was made union territory of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. What are these 8 union territories? You must know. Okay. What are they? I told right now. Okay, first is Delhi. Delhi is National Capital Territory, NCT. That is also Union Territory. We have next to Delhi is Chandigarh. Okay, this is second. This is second. Like you told, Jammu and Kashmir. Like I only told, not you. Jammu and Kashmir. This is fourth is Ladakh. Ladakh is separate. So we have Ladakh. Okay. Next is Dadra and Nagar Haveli near Gujarat. Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Okay, let me write the full form for you. Actually, there was 2 union territories. One is Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Another one is Daman and Diu. These both were clubbed and made a single union territory. Okay, if you see the Indian map, if you see here, Daman and Diu was there. Here Dadra and Nagar Haveli was there. Dadra and Nagar Haveli was a single union territory, Daman and Diu is single. Since they are in the same region, they were clubbed together and made a single union territory. So, first is Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Okay, another one is Daman and Diu. Okay, next is Pondicherry, which name was also changed, it is Puducherry. Okay, so Puducherry. Next is we have something called Andaman and Nicobar. Eighth is Lakshadweep. Okay, Andaman and Nicobar, Lakshadweep. So 28 states and 8 union territories, that is Delhi, Chandigarh, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, okay, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Daman and Diu, Puducherry, okay, Andaman and Nicobar, Lakshadweep. Okay, Puducherry consists of so many places that you must know. Yaman, Mahe, all these places you have to go through it in the map. Okay, anyways, when you do the map, I will tell you. Okay, some important places in the maps that can also be asked as a question. When I do geography, we will be extensively keep using the map. Okay, it will not be just text content, we will be using lot of maps for you to understand geography. Fine. Now, I told you this is union territories. When I talk about union territories, I am referring to this one. When I am talking about union and its territory, first part, when I am referring to union and its territory, I am referring to these 28 states plus 8 union territories. Union and territory means complete India. It is comprising of, see, when I talk about union and its territory, this is a bigger unit. Okay, here I am talking about 28 states plus 8 union territories. Along with that, the coastline, the border areas, everything included. Okay, everything included. Okay, everything included. It's called union and its territory. When I come to geography, I will tell you about coastline. In the coastline, till where we have the right territorial waters up to 200 nautical miles, all these things. After that, we call it as international waters. Going there is illegal. Up to 200 nautical miles or 12 nautical miles, I will check and tell you, 200 nautical miles you can go. After that, if you go, it is called international waters. Other country will have its their jurisdiction there. But we have a long coastline. Okay, if you see the map, rough map, if you see, I am talking only about this one. See, if I see the map, see here, this entire thing is a coastline. So we have a long coastline on the ocean below us. So we have a prominent position in the Indian Ocean. That is, India has a long coastline in the Indian Ocean. That's why the ocean itself is named after India. That is why it is called as what? Indian Ocean. Okay, understood. So this is union territories. This is part 8. Part 9 is panchayats. Okay, have you seen web series Panchayat? You must have not known. Okay, so if you want to understand panchayat, watch that when you are free, not now. So panchayats. Okay, panchayats, part 9. Part 9A, municipalities. That means what? 9A means what? It is by amendment. Okay, part 9 is panchayats, part 9A is municipalities. Okay, part 9b is cooperative societies. Okay, part 9b is cooperative societies. This is very important. There can be a question in the examination. Why I am telling is part 9b, up till 2019 there was no something called Ministry of Cooperation. It was not there. Okay, in 2019 again the government came to power. No, that time they created a new ministry called Ministry of Cooperation. That was mainly for these cooperative societies. Cooperative societies, they can be like so many cooperative societies, like for example KMF is one cooperative society, Karnataka Milk Federation, like that, Amul, they are also cooperative society. There are so many cooperative societies. So the Ministry of Cooperation is taking care of this. So cooperative society is very important topic. Okay, it is under which part? Part 9b. Part 9 is Panchayat, 9a is municipalities, 9b is cooperative societies. Highly important, very important. Okay, what is happening in the current affairs? They will ask the question here. Okay, you will think that current affairs means you have to go through only the news. Along with the news, what is the background that is there? Cooperative societies is coming under what? Part 9b. You must know this. Okay. Then is part 10, scheduled and tribal areas. Scheduled and tribal areas. So part 10 is talking about what? Scheduled and tribal areas. That is the areas where the people belonging to scheduled castes or scheduled tribes, or also people belonging to tribal areas. The states which have tribal areas, that governing is under part 10. Okay, for example, if I talk about tribal areas, Madhya Pradesh also has lot of tribal areas, Northeast, so many states. Okay, Orissa, Jharkhand, they also have tribal areas. Even Telangana has tribal areas. Okay, correct? No, how the administration should be done there. Okay, you cannot have same administration what you doing here in Hyderabad. You cannot go and have same kind of administration in tribal areas, because there the people are even more closed, in the sense their culture is very important for them. Okay, their culture is sacred for them. So you should be more sensitive to them and make sure that the administration which you take care there, that should be as per the cultural needs of them. You should not hurt their sentiments. So that is why administration in different areas should be different. Why? To ensure that there is unity in diversity. Correct? No? We are very diverse country. For each 200 to 300 kilometer, you can see different kind of soil also, you can see different kind of people, you can see different kind of food taste and different type of clothing also. So to ensure that there is unity here, the administration should also vary. Okay. So part 10 is talking about what? Scheduled and tribal areas. Now how to remember part 1 to 10? What is the mnemonic that is there to remember part 1 to 10? So that is, so trick to remember parts 1 to 10, you can fly directly from US to UP to meet the child of Sachin. Okay, this is the mnemonic I am telling. Okay, you can fly directly from US to UP. UP means Uttar Pradesh, US means United States, to meet the child of Sachin, to meet child of Sachin. So in that, first letters which I have underlined, they are very important. You can fly. Trick to remember what? Part 1 to part 10. I started with what? Parts of the Indian Constitution. In the original Constitution, that is Constitution of 26 January 1950, there are 22 parts. Okay, but as of now in the present Constitution, there are 25 parts. Now we are learning the 22 parts. First 10 parts we already learned. So the trick to remember first 10 parts is, you can fly, listen carefully, you can fly directly from US to UP. Why you have to fly? To meet the child of Sachin. You can think about Sachin Tendulkar. Okay, you can fly directly from US to UP to meet the child of Sachin. Here U stands for what? U stands for Union and its territory, not Union territory, Union and its territory. Okay. C stands for what? Citizenship. Okay. F stands for what? Fundamental rights. Fundamental rights. Okay. D stands for DPSP. Again F is coming, this is standing for fundamental duties. Fundamental duties. Here U stands for what? Union government. Along with it S stands for state government. Clear? See here. Here U stands for Union and its territory. This is citizenship. This is fundamental rights. This is DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy. This F stands for fundamental duties, union government, state government. What about this U? This is union territory. This is union territory. Okay, this U is, I told you, there are 28 states and 8 union territories. Those 8 union territories is contained in this part, this U. Okay, this P is what? Panchayats. This M is municipalities. This is cooperative society. This is part 9. This is part 9A, part 9B, cooperative societies. Okay, cooperative societies. The part 10 is what? Scheduled and tribal areas. Scheduled and tribal areas. This is what? Part 10, scheduled and tribal areas. Understood? Now it is easy to remember, correct? No, at least some idea you will have. You can fly directly from US to UP to meet the child of Sachin. If you want to make a mnemonic of yourself, you can make it. Not a problem at all. I have given this mnemonic, you can use it. Okay, you can fly directly from US to UP to meet the child of Sachin. This is the mnemonic to remember the parts. Okay, you can fly directly from US to UP to meet the child of Sachin. To remember the parts from which part? Part 1 to part 10. Okay, now similarly let us see part 11 to part 16. Okay, part 11 to part 16, then we will see other parts. Okay, if you want to write down, please write down, otherwise we will continue. I will share the notes anyways today, you can use it. Okay. Part 11, relation between union and states. Part 11 is talking about relation between union and states. So when I talk about relation, what kind of relation? Okay. So part 11 is talking about relation between union and states. So it is talking about what? Part 11, relation between union and state, that is union government and state government. What kind of relation? Relation can be financial relation, it can be administrative relation, it can be executive relation, anything like that. Financial relation means what the tax the central government has collected, how it is distributing to other states. See, what will happen is the GST which we give or the any kind of tax that we give from the states, it goes to the central government. Okay. Although Telangana or Karnataka or Maharashtra or Andhra Pradesh or whatever, the GST whatever we pay will go to central government. Okay. They have to be distributed to all the other states, every states including Telangana, every place. Okay. How it should be distributed is decided by Finance Commission. Okay. I will talk about Finance Commission, it is under Article 280. Okay. Finance Commission is set up for 5 years, every 5 years. The Finance Commission has certain criteria, to decide how much money or how much tax money should be given to each of the states. Okay. One can be population based on 1971 census, another thing can be like how much, what is that, how much we have contributed to the growth of ecology and environment, forest cover, how much it has increased, like that various parameters are there. That I will tell you when I will talk about Finance Commission either in polity or I talk about Finance Commission even in economy also. Okay, got it. So the central government will collect the taxes and it will give back to the states, but it will not be how much it takes, it won't give that much. Suppose 100 rupees it is taking from Telangana, it won't give 100. There are various criteria, it may give either 80 rupees or it may give even 120 rupees. Okay, but understand the one thing, just because you are developed state, that doesn't mean that everything will come back to you. Okay, you have to take care of the other states also which are not performing well. For them you have to allocate more fund. Okay, that is also there. So that is one of the criticism by South Indian states on the government, because we are not getting enough of the taxes back to us. So again states government, they will give the tax money again back to the panchayats and municipalities. That is about financial relation, administrative relation, executive relation. Okay, I spoke only about financial relation. This I will tell you when I talk about center and state relations. Okay, next thing is part 12, finance, property, contracts and suits. Okay, it is talking about finance, property, contracts and suits. That is, for example, suppose you want to register a property in Telangana, in Hyderabad. Okay, there are certain rules and regulations, that is stamp duty, whatever you have to pay. There are certain rules and regulations that you have to follow. But when you go to some other state, their rules and regulations will be different. Okay, how it should be done, a general overview or framework is given under part 12. Finance, property means you can talk about even real estate, finance, property, contracts and suits. Suits means it is not the suit what we wear, it is suits means you are talking about some law cases. Okay, suing. Okay, I will sue her because she is talking ill of me. Suing means I am bringing her to court. That is the meaning of suing. Okay, that is nothing but suits. Understood? So part 12 is talking about finance, property, contracts and suits. Now 13. Okay, So it is talking about trade, commerce, intercourse within the territory of India. Trade, commerce and intercourse within the territory of India. So part 13 is talking about trade, commerce and intercourse. That is the people to people relation, how it should be within the territory of India. Okay, got it? Trade, commerce and intercourse within the territory of India. Which part? Part 13. So part 13 is talking about trade, commerce, intercourse within the territory of India. So they can give a question. Part 13 of the Indian Constitution deals with, they can give various options, trade, commerce and intercourse within the territory of India. Got it? Or they can give trade, commerce, intercourse within the territory of India is dealt in which part? Part 13. They can give various parts. In the option which is having part 13, that is the right answer. Clear? Next one. Services under union and states. Okay, services under union and states. Okay, services under union and states is contained in article 312. Madam told I have to tell about articles also, so I am telling articles also wherever possible. Services under the union and states. Okay, services under the union and states means some services will be under the union government, some services will be under the state government. Suppose you write TGPSC or APPSC or group, right? Okay, it will come under the state government, correct? No, you become a tahsildar or something like that, it come under the state government. But some posts like administrative services like Indian Administrative Service, Indian Police Service, also Indian Foreign Service, okay, all these things are also called All India Services. All India Services. Like, yes. They are called All India Services. Such services are called services under the union and state. Okay, not these they are called All India Services. Okay, other services are called central services. These are called what? All India Services. Other services are called as what? Central services like IRS, okay, IDAS, IAAS, Indian Audits and Account Service. There are various Group A and Group B services. They are called central services. These are called All India Services. So no need to go in depth about it. I just give an idea. Okay, so services under the union and state is contained under part 14. Contained under which part? Part 14 of the Indian Constitution. Now when I talk about part 14A, it is talking about tribunals. So what do you mean by tribunals? Okay, so part 14A is talking about tribunals. So till now, whenever I spoke about Indian polity for you people, this is the third class, I told about High Court, Supreme Court. Okay, so if I talk about the structure of the judiciary, we have something called, I'll start with district court, session courts, High Court, Supreme Court we have. Okay, so district court, before that session court, do district court, High Court, Supreme Court, like that we have. So some cases will go here, then you have to go High Court, again it will go to Supreme Court, something, it takes a lot of time. Okay, it takes a lot of delay. Okay, there is a famous saying, justice delayed is justice denied. Okay, there is also one more saying, justice hurried is also justice buried. That means you cannot hurry the justice. If you hurry the justice, there will not be proper procedure that will be followed. So that means what? Justice will be buried. Okay, that is also there. Okay, now apart from this, sometimes you want some immediate action, immediate result for some issue. Okay, there is already so many cases pending before these courts. Okay, they will not immediately take up your case. Okay, but for that we have an alternative settlement called tribunals. Tribunals are also courts, but understand one thing, under the tribunals, if you suppose I and this person go to tribunal. Okay, after going to tribunal, after that they give the judgment, that judgment which they give is final. You cannot go again to the Supreme Court or High Court. What they give is final. This person says that no, it is in favor of him, I will go to Supreme Court, they won't accept. Once you go to tribunal, whatever the judgment they give is final. So you can understand that tribunals are also what? They are also kind of courts. So it is contained under part 14A, that is tribunals were not there in the original constitution, it was added through an amendment. Okay, for example, we have tribunals like, okay, Kaveri Water Tribunal we have. Okay, there is a lot of issue between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu when it comes to Kaveri water dispute. Okay, so for that we have Kaveri Water Tribunal. Like that we have Krishna Godavari, there also tribunal is there. Okay, so be it any water dispute, there is a tribunal. Okay, because we want speedy justice. Okay, but most of the cases it doesn't happen, but tribunal means you have to take the example of that. Understood? It is also kind of courts. So part 14A is tribunals. Now part 15 is elections. Part 15 is elections. So article 324, 325, 326, okay, actually 324 to 330 or 331 is talking about elections. 324 is very important. 324 is very important because it talks about our right to vote. Okay, so part 15 is elections. Part 15 is elections. Okay, so part 15 is talking about elections under article 354. Now understand one thing, I will give a question. Right to vote. Okay, let me write it here. If there is a question, right to vote is option A, fundamental right, human right, constitutional right, legal right. This is my question. So part 15 I am telling it is talking about elections under article 324, 325. Elections means it is talking about right to vote only. Okay. So right to vote is this a fundamental right or human right or constitutional right or legal right? What is the answer? Fundamental right, huh? Human right, huh? I want one option, not all the four. Okay, you said fundamental right, you also said fundamental right, it is not the answer. You said legal right, sorry, human right, that is also not the answer. It is constitutional rights, yeah. Okay, that doesn't mean that you said B means you said okay. So understand one thing, no problem. I wrote B, no problem. I thought you said that B, no problem. So understand one thing, right to vote is nowhere mentioned in fundamental right. I understand what you are doing in vision, eating lot of chips and wasting time. No problem, not a problem. Okay, dustbin would have been filled there. Okay, it is not a, okay, you will forget things, I understand. It is not a fundamental right. The first thing that will strike is you will think that it is a fundamental right. It is very important right, I understand, but it is not a fundamental right. Right to vote is not a fundamental right. Got it? Next thing is, even I will think it is a fundamental right immediately if you ask me, but it is not a fundamental right. It is not a human right. Human right means everything comes under human right. Specific, I want specific. Okay, human right, under that fundamental right will also come, constitutional right will also come, legal right will also come. Specifically if I ask, legal right means it is done as per the law, but election is not done as per the, through any act. Election is directly present in the constitution. So if it is present in the constitution, it is present under any article. So it is what? Constitutional right. Okay, the answer is constitutional right. Okay, this has been asked in multiple examination. 99% of the people will get it wrong. Okay, right to vote is what? Constitutional right. Some books have also given it as legal right. It is not legal right. Correct answer is constitutional right. Why? Because see here, part 15 is talking about elections. Under elections, there is article 324, 325, 324 to 330. It is talking about election. Particularly 324 is talking about the right to vote. Okay, not directly, indirectly. So right to vote is under elections. This election is under which under constitution or what? It is under constitution only, right? It is in part 15. Part 15 talks about elections, correct? So when it is elections is in the constitution, the right which it gives, it is also a constitutional right. Understood? Clear? Why it is constitutional right? Understood? Now you are googling. I know you are googling whether it is constitutional right or not a problem. It is a constitutional right which is given in proper books. Okay, it is a constitutional right itself. Okay, 324, 325 it talks about right to vote. Indirectly it talks, not directly. Okay, yeah, it is not direct, indirectly it talks. So implicitly it is constitutional right. Got it? Appreciate your enthusiasm in class also, and apart from meeting, not a problem. So part 16. Part 16 is talking about what? Part 16 is talking about special provisions relating to SCs and STs. Part 16 is talking about, part 10 is talking about scheduled and tribal areas. Part 16 is talking about special provisions with respect to SCs and STs. Why? Because they were subject to historical injustice like untouchability. They were not given access to public places, they were not given access to temples like public places, they were not given access to education. Okay, because of that they felt backward, or not felt backward, they stayed backward people. Even now if you talk about SCs, okay, there are lot of upliftment is happening, but the people who are already uplifted, they are again getting uplifted. Those who are deeply in poverty among SCs, they are still staying in poverty. That's why there is a concept of creamy layer, like in OBC we have non-creamy layer and creamy layer. So there is a discussion to bring up creamy layer even in among SCs and STs, okay, especially under SCs. So because why? So majority of them are still facing backwardness. So we have special provisions relating to SCs and STs. One of the special provision is what? Reservation. Okay, got it. So special provisions relating to SCs and STs. So this is part 11 to part 16. Now what is the trick to remember this? Understood? Part 11 to part 16. Okay, this is special provisions relating to SCs and STs. So what is the trick to remember this? Okay, read from the start to end for success. Read from the start to end for success. This is the trick to remember for part 11 to 16. This whatever I have written the statement, that is also true. You have to read from start to end for success, but that is not actually true. You have to read as per the previous year question, as per the syllabus. Okay, you have to organize your preparation in such a way that in proper order. In books when they give, they will not be in proper order. Okay, but you have to read in such a way that the concepts keeps getting built up layer by layer. Okay, it should not be read in isolation. For example, if I talk now, actually the first chapter that I should do is citizenship. Second chapter, first chapter is union and territories. I didn't do that, but I had to tell you certain basics, parts and schedules. I had to tell about sources of constitution. Next I have to tell about preamble. So it's not always advisable to read from start to end for success. You have to read in an organized way, that is different. But remember this, read from the start to end for success. Read from the start to end for success. That is what part, to remember, part 11 to 16. Read from start to end from success. R is talking about what here? Relation between center and states, union and states. Good. Okay. F is talking about what? Finance, property, contracts and suits. Okay. Finance, property, contracts and suits. T is talking about what? Trade, commerce, intercourse within the territory of India. S is talking about what? Services under the union and states. Services under the union and states. Correct? No? Services under union and states. This T is what? Tribunal. Correct? No? This is tribunal. 14A, tribunal. E is what? Election. S is what? Special provisions. Special provisions with respect to SCs and STs. Okay. So part 11 to 16, to remember that we have the trick, that is read from the start to end for success. Read from start to end for success. That is the trick we have for part 11 to 16. Read from start to end for success. Now we have part 17 to 22. That is, there are 6 more parts. We will learn those parts and then we will see what is the trick. Okay, there is a funny trick for that, we will remember that. Okay. Part 17, official languages. Okay, official languages, as of now we have 22 official languages. Okay, earlier there were 14, then it became 18 and then it became 22. Okay, official languages, it is contained in 8th schedule of the constitution. Yesterday also I spoke about schedule. While talking about division of power, I told that I spoke about 7th schedule. There is union list, concurrent list and state list. Concurrent list is borrowed from which constitution? Concurrent list, Australian constitution. Okay, concurrent list is borrowed from Australian constitution. Got it? So 7th schedule is talking about division of power. 8th schedule is talking about official languages. Now my question to you is English an official language? Is English an official language? Is English an official language? Yes or no? You have to search and tell me. Okay, I know the answer, you have to search and tell me. Okay, whether English is an official language. Hindi, it is an official language. Telugu, official language. Okay, check whether English is an official language or not. I know the answer, you have to check and tell me. English, I am asking English. Okay. Next is emergency provisions, part 18, emergency provisions. Emergency provisions, which act? Government of India Act 1935, emergency provisions. Okay, this is borrowed from Government of India Act 1935. So, part 18 is talking about what? Emergency provisions, correct? Part 18 is talking about emergency provisions, alright. Now, when I talk about emergency provisions, I told you about national emergency, state emergency. Yes, it is not a official language. English is not an official language. So, please keep this in mind. They can give which of the following is not an official language. English can be in the option. The answer is English. You may think that the Supreme Court, High Court, they are using English. Everywhere we are also using English. So, you may think that it is an official language. It is not an official language. It is a language for convenience or for communication we are using. Okay. Now, emergency provisions, I told you national emergency, state emergency and also financial emergency. Yesterday's class, I also told you financial emergency has not been imposed in India even a single time. Okay. So, part 18 is talking about emergency provisions. Part 19 is talking about miscellaneous. Okay. Miscellaneous. Miscellaneous means whatever is left over. For example, after class is done, if I meet this person, whatever is left over in her bag, she will give us, she will give to eat. That is the meaning of miscellaneous. Or residuary. Okay, understood? That is the meaning of miscellaneous. I am telling these examples so that you remember. Okay, so miscellaneous means the leftover things. Part 20. Part 20 is talking about amendment of the constitution. How the constitution should be amended. Okay, what is the procedure that should be followed? For example, Article 368 talks about amendment of the constitution. Amendment of the constitution is borrowed from which constitution? Indian constitution only, but which constitution we took it from? Amendment of the constitution. It is South Africa. Okay. Amendment of the constitution is South African constitution we borrowed. Okay. So, amendment of the constitution is part 20, amendment of the constitution. So, it is under Article 368. Ma'am, I am telling the article also, it is Article 368. Respect in public, humility in private. Okay. Article 368 is amendment of the constitution. Got it? So, that is Article 368. I will tell you how the amendment of the constitution takes place when I talk about this. There are some important amendments you have to remember. Like I told you, 42nd amendment, it is also called mini constitution. Okay. Next is part 21. Okay. Temporary, transitional and special provisions. Okay. So, part 21 is talking about provisions. What kind of provisions? Temporary provisions. That means what? It is nothing but, you know that temporary means it is not permanent. It is a ad hoc settlement. Ad hoc means, you have to understand, ad hoc means it is for that specific purpose. Okay. Ad hoc arrangement means, okay, suppose I come and say, here we have kept a table, okay, don't worry, it will be taken out. We have kept, this is just an ad hoc arrangement if I say, for that specific purpose I have kept it here. So, temporary means for some specific purpose we have made it, for some duration of time, it will not be there for ever. Okay, that is the meaning of temporary. Okay, now transitional means some provisions can be transferred from one section of society to another section of society, or from one department to another department. That is called as what? Transitional. Okay, okay, that is the meaning of what? Transitional. Next is special provisions. Special provisions, already I told you, when it comes to SCs and STs or tribal areas, all these people, they have special provisions. So, when it about provisions, which part is talking about? Part 21. What kind of provisions? Temporary, transitional and special. TTS. Okay, got it. Now, part 22. Part 22 is talking about short title, commencement, authoritative text in the Hindi and repeals. Okay. So, short title. Part 22 is talking about, it is there, that is special provisions specific to SCs and STs. There are other special provisions also. Okay, for example, we have special provisions given to certain states. Okay, they will receive more funds because they want to be more developed, because they are already facing backwardness. Special category states. Okay, SCS we call it as special category states. That is a special provision given to that state. Okay, that is the meaning of special provisions. Like that, special provisions will give it not just for SCs and STs. In various other dimension, we will give special provisions. Okay. Now, short title in the sense, sometimes in Article 18 also, right to equality, it says that you can keep title only if it is academic, like doctor. Okay. For example, doctor is an academic title. Okay, if you are a doctor, you can take doctor. Like Sir has done PhD, you can keep doctor as the title. But some people will keep like Raja De Raja, Rana, like something like that. Okay, all those things you are not supposed to keep. Only academic title and military title. Military title means colonel, something like that. Major, okay, captain, something like that. That kind of things you can keep. Okay, other things you cannot keep. For example, you cannot keep like Gachibowli Divakar. Got it? Like that, such kind of titles you cannot keep. That is, for example, I am telling only academic and military titles you can keep, not any other thing. So, short title, commencement of the constitution, authoritative text in Hindi and repeals. Authoritative text, some texts are in Hindi, and repeals means what are the things that have been removed. Repeal means what? You have to remove certain things. Repealing means, suppose I have given some book or I have given some textbook for you. In some the textbook, some texts or some concepts or some MCQs, I have given it as wrong questions. I mean the questions are wrong. So, I have to remove those questions from that book. That is the meaning of what? Repealing. Okay. So, in the constitution also there are some mistakes or some arbitrary things are there that you have to remove, means that we call it as what? Repeals. Got it? You can understand as deletion, that is it. So, we have learned all the parts. Now, we have to remember the trick from part 17 to 22. So, part 17 to 22, the trick is what? All of you read loudly. Read loudly. What is the trick? Trampled it suddenly. Okay. Trampled means stamped on it. Okay. So, one elephant met ant and trampled it suddenly, because ant may look very small. Okay, but if it comes on the body of the elephant, if elephant cannot take it out, it can make it bleed, the elephant. The ant can make the elephant bleed, correct? No? Is it possible or not? Not possible. If it climbs on the body, the ant, okay, the ant can make the elephant bleed by biting on it. Correct? No? It can make you people also bleed. If you are not able to find out where the ant is, you can keep on biting. Correct? No? So, whenever you see an ant, make sure you are away from it or trample it. I am not against ants, I am telling for you to remember the thing. Okay, one elephant met an ant and trampled it suddenly. Okay, one elephant met an ant and trampled it suddenly. Got it? That is the way how to remember. So, here what does one stand for? That is very important. One elephant met an ant and trampled it suddenly. One is what? O is official language. Official language. Next is what? E is emergency provisions. E is emergency provisions. What is M? M is talking about what? Municipalities is done. What is M talking about? Miscellaneous. Good. So, whatever is left out, that is miscellaneous. What about A? What about A? Amendment to the constitution. Okay, A is talking about amendment to the constitution. Okay. So, T is talking about transitional, temporary, transitional and special provisions. S is talking about what? Short text, short title, all these things. Okay. So, we understood from part 1 to part 22. Part 1 to 10 is you can fly directly from US to UP to meet the child of Sachin. Part 1 to 10. Part 11 to 16 is what? Read from start to end for success. Part 17 to 22 is what? One elephant met an ant and trampled it suddenly. That's it. Okay. So, you understood all the 22 parts along with some basic understanding of each of the terms. Clear? So, parts is clear now. So, you have to know the 3 mnemonics, based on that you have to understand. That's it. Okay. Let us move to the next thing, very important thing. If you want a break, you can take. You need break? Okay. We will complete the schedules. Next is schedules of the Indian Constitution. Understand one thing, when I talk about schedules, in the original Constitution, we had how many schedules? 8 schedules. Okay. Now, That means in the present constitution we have 12 schedules. We have what? 12 schedules. Okay, in the present constitution we have what? 12 schedules. In the first amendment, okay, there are so many amendments that has taken place. The first amendment in 1952, that was under Jawaharlal Nehru government. In the first amendment, 9th schedule was added. Okay, first constitutional amendment, 9th schedule was added. Okay, 9th schedule was added. It was talking about land reforms. Land reforms means what? Before the independence, there are a lot of land policies that the British undertook, like permanent land settlement. There are various policies which made that there was zamindari system, feudal system and all. So people who used to till the land, who used to actually work on the land, they did not have any land. Okay, land reforms are made sure that a person can have only this much acres of land. Apart from that, he has to give it back to the government. That was the thing that was made. So land reforms, main aim of the land reform was land to the landless. Okay, that was made, and a new schedule was created, that is called 9th schedule. Okay, this is through first amendment. Next is we have 10th schedule. I think this is in 52nd Amendment Act. This is also constitutional amendment, 10th schedule. It is talking about anti-defection law. It is talking about anti-defection. What is defection? I will tell you. Okay, I will tell you what is defection. Then you will understand what is anti-defection. Okay. Now 11th schedule, it is about panchayats. 11th schedule, see, panchayats and municipalities were there implicitly in the constitution. They were made explicitly. Constitutional status for them was given through 11th schedule, that is through, what is that? 92nd, 72nd and 73rd. Okay, 72nd and 73rd Amendment Act of 1992 and 1993. Okay, that is 11th is panchayat and 12th is municipalities. 12th is what? Municipalities. Clear? 12th is what? Municipalities. Clear to all of you? So there were initially, 10th one is anti-defection, DEFECTION. Okay, so first you have to understand that there were 8 schedules in the original constitution. Now we have 12 schedules. 9 talks about land reforms, 10th anti-defection, 11th panchayats, 12th municipalities. Now let us start from the beginning. Here also I will tell you the trick how to remember. Okay. First schedule. First schedule contain list of the states and union territories and their names. So part 1 talks about what? Union and its territory. Same way, first schedule also talks about union and its territory. In what way? List of the states and their union territories. Union territories. List of states and also union territories and their names. It contains list of all the 28 states. It contains list of all the 8 union territories along with their name. That is first schedule. Second schedule, it is very important. Okay. Second schedule contains what it contains? It contains emoluments. It contains emoluments and salaries. Emoluments and salaries. Second schedule talks about what? It talks about emoluments and salaries. No need to worry about this much. Emoluments and salaries. Emoluments and salaries. Of whom? Of you or me? Emoluments and salaries means all the benefits and salaries they get. Who are those people? President. Okay. Vice president. Instead of vice president will receive the salary not as a vice president. He will receive the salary as chairman of Rajya Sabha. President, speaker and also deputy speaker. Okay. Chairman and also vice chairman. Okay. Also CAG, Comptroller, Auditor General, and also who is that? Supreme Court and High Court judges. Okay. Supreme Court and High Court judges, and also who is left out? That's it. Okay. This you have to remember. Supreme Court and High Court judges, Auditor General, Comptroller and Auditor General. Okay, that is already done. Okay. They will not ask these things. Okay, but just you have to remember emoluments and salaries of these people. But here they have not mentioned anywhere Prime Minister or Chief Minister. No, it is not talking about emoluments and salaries of Prime Ministers and Chief Minister. It is not talking about people, those people. Okay, it is talking about Speaker and Deputy Speaker, Chairman and Vice Chairman, Deputy Chairman, okay, President, CAG, all these people, High Court and Supreme Court judges. Emoluments and salaries. Okay, emoluments and salaries. Okay, now to receive emoluments and salaries, you have to perform certain duties. How do I perform duty? I have to perform my duty correctly. How will I say that I perform my duty? For that I have to take an oath. So third schedule talks about oath and affirmations. Oath and affirmations. Okay. Oath and affirmations you would have seen in whenever new government is formed. You would have seen. For example, when the central government was formed, may whatever the name, Ishwar ki shapath leta ho, something like that. Or you might have seen in movie, Madana Siva Reddy and Nanu, like that. So many things. Okay, that is the forms of oaths and affirmations. Once you take the oath and affirmation only, you are actually called that person. Suppose I want to be I am made a minister. President has appointed me. After I take the oath and affirmation only, I am actually a minister. Without oath and affirmation, I am not it. Okay, even if it is a president, even if it is a prime minister. Okay, after you take the oath and affirmation, then only you are actually, in reality, you are holding that position. Once you take oath and affirmations, you have to discharge the responsibilities. For that, you get emoluments and salaries. Emoluments means they can be pension, other allowances, and salaries. For example, president gets even Rashtrapati Bhavan, rent-free accommodation there. Okay, governor gets what? Raj Bhavan. You can see Raj Bhavan here also. Correct now, near Secretariat, that road. Okay. So, fourth schedule contains provisions to allocation of seats in the Council of States. Council of States is also called as what? Council of States is also called as what? I told you yesterday. See, Rajya Sabha. Okay. Parliament, it is divided into Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Okay. Rajya Sabha is also called Upper House and also Council of States. Lok Sabha is also called as L. L stands for Lower House and also House of People. So, for Council of States, Rajya Sabha, okay, from each state, a fixed number of seats are allocated. Okay. For Telangana, separate number of seats. For Uttar Pradesh, separate number of seats. For Karnataka, separate number of seats. Kerala, separate number of seats. How it is allocated? Based on the population. Suppose the state is having more population, more seats are allocated to that state. Less population, less seats are allocated to that state in Rajya Sabha. So, allocation of seats to the Rajya Sabha, instead of Rajya Sabha, they have used the word what? Council of States. So, fourth schedule is talking about what? Seats to Rajya Sabha. How the seats and how many seats are allocated to Rajya Sabha is spoken in which schedule? Fourth schedule. So, let us revise. First schedule is what? It is talking about list of states and union territories. Second schedule is food, about not food, money. Money we have means you will get food. Emoluments and salaries. Third is talking about oaths, oaths and affirmations. Fourth is talking about what? Allocation of seats in Council of States. Fifth is very important. Fifth schedule contains provisions related to administration and control of scheduled areas and scheduled tribes. Scheduled areas and scheduled tribes. Okay, scheduled areas and scheduled tribes. Area means it is talking about geographical location. Scheduled tribes means it is talking about particular section of the society. Okay. Fifth schedule is talking about what? Scheduled areas and scheduled tribes. And sixth schedule is talking about administration of other tribal areas. Tribal areas in the states of AM, TM, I say that. Okay. Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram. Okay. Fifth schedule is talking about what? Scheduled areas and scheduled tribes. And sixth schedule is talking about administration of tribal areas in the states of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram. It is not Manipur, it is Mizoram. Okay, it is not Manipur, it is Mizoram. Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram. Assam, Meghalaya, AM, TM. Remember like this, AM, TM. AM, TM is what? Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram. Because they can ask a question, which are those states? Which of the following are the states included in sixth schedule? Sixth schedule if they ask, so it is Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram. Got it? So, if they ask, it is Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram. Sixth schedule contains provisions to administration of tribal area. Fifth is scheduled areas and scheduled tribes. Fifth is what? Don't get confused. Fifth is scheduled areas and scheduled tribes. Sixth is tribal areas. Tribal areas in which states? Not all the states of India. It is talking about only 4 states: Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. Okay. Next 7th schedule, I told you it is talking about division of power in the previous class itself, union list, state list and concurrent list. 8th schedule, I told you part 17 official languages. Official languages is contained in, I told you, 8th schedule. So part 7, that is 8th schedule is talking about list and recognized languages, that is nothing but official languages. 8th schedule is talking about what? Official languages. Got it? 8th schedule is talking about what? Official language. 7th schedule, division of power. Okay, union list, central list and also union list, concurrent list and also state list. 8th schedule is talking about official languages. 9th schedule contains provision validation of certain acts and regulations. 9th schedule talks about certain acts and regulation, means particularly it is talking about land and land reforms, I can say. Remember like this. Okay. So 9th schedule is land reforms. Please keep it in mind. 9th schedule is land reforms. Next is 10th schedule. 10th schedule is talking about defection. 10th schedule is talking about defection, contains provisions on the grounds, on what grounds disqualification takes place, on the grounds of defection. So first of all, you should know what is defection. Okay. Now, what do you mean by defection? Suppose there is a party X. Suppose there is a party Y. This person A will get elected in the name of this party. Okay, this party will form the government. Okay, under this government, he thinks that they will give the minister to him. Okay, they will not give the ministership to him. So he will get disappointed. What he will do? He will jump from this party to this party. Okay, that time what will happen? Like this, if many people do, okay, so many people leave means this party will shrink. No, the number of MLAs will shrink, and already election was held. There was a stable government. Because of people jumping like this government will dissolve. It will become an unstable government. The administration will become unstable. Correct? No. So here they will come. They will form a government. Okay. Again, here you will get ministership for some time. Some other people will have to lose out on ministership. They will jump from here to here. Again, this will become unstable. So jumping from one party to another, this is called defection. See, now election is not there. I can jump from this party to this party. That is totally allowed. Okay, once I am elected from this party, if I am changing the party, that is called defection. Okay, this was so much happening in 1980s to 1990s. Okay, there was 2 persons or 1 person. Okay, within a span of 1 week or 5 days, they changed the parties at least 8 to 10 times. Okay, that time there was a famous quote that was coming, that is called Ayaram Gayaram. Okay, that means he is coming here, then he is going again, like that. So that time they brought a law, that is anti-defection law, okay, through 52nd Amendment Act in 1985. Through 52nd Amendment Act in 1985, that act is called anti-defection law. So this is what, observe here, this is defection. So if you are having any bacterial infection, what you will give? Antibiotic. Correct? No. Anti. So if you are having defection, to control it, what you will give? Anti-defection. Okay, to support something, what you will give? You will give probiotics. Correct? No. Probiotics are good bacteria. Here, this is not something that is good. So we have to give what? Anti. That is anti-defection law was brought. That was included in 10th schedule. Okay. Understood what do you mean by defection now? Clear? Okay. Now, 11th schedule. Okay. 11th schedule contains powers, authority and responsibility of the panchayats. 11th schedule is talking about what? It is talking solely and only about panchayats. Okay, panchayats is spoken about in here. It is having 18 articles, 18 subjects. Panchayats have 18 subjects. Subjects in the sense 18 areas on which they can make rules, like roads, like water, like that. 18 subjects on which they can make rules. Okay, panchayats in 11th schedule. Similarly, 12th schedule. 12th schedule is talking about municipalities. These having 29 subjects. How many subjects? 29 subjects. Got it? So 18 subjects when it comes to panchayats. 12th schedule is, it is talking about municipalities. It is having how many subjects? 29. There it is 18, here it is 29. Got it? Now I told you there are 8 schedules. Okay, then I told there are another 4 more schedules. We learned 12 schedules. So how to remember this? Using the trick. So that trick is very famous, most of them know. So that trick, let us see. That is called as what? TRs of old PM. Okay, it is called as what? Tiers of old PM. See here, all of you observe, tiers of old PM. T, it is talking about what? Territory. Territory means what? State, list of state and its territory. Okay. E means what? I told you, emoluments and salaries. I will share it with you, no need to write down, I will share it with you. Anything important which is not there here, when I say that you write down, everything not required, just listen. So, E means what? Second schedule, emoluments and salaries. A means what? Oath and affirmations. R means what? Allocation of seats in the Rajya Sabha. I just written Rajya Sabha, you must understand. Okay. S means what? It is talking about scheduled and scheduled tribes, administration of scheduled areas and scheduled tribes. O means what? Other scheduled areas. Other scheduled areas or other tribal areas also you can say. In which state? 4 states, that is AMTM, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram. Okay. F means what? It is talking about federal scheme, federal division or federal provision. That means what? How the powers is divided between union list, concurrent list and also state list. Okay. Next is O, it is talking about official languages. Okay. Old PM. L means land reforms, I told you 9 schedule. D means defection, anti-defection law 10 schedule, and also P means panchayats, M means municipalities. Clear? Done. Okay. So, we have done with parts and schedules of the Indian Constitution. The trick is tiers of old PM. Now, let us see some questions. Okay, let us see some questions and then we will wind up. Okay. So, the first question that we have is, which of the following states is included in 6th schedule of the Indian Constitution? The options are Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh. It is what? Mizoram. Correct? Now, what are the other states? That is Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. Okay. Which schedule deals with the language recognized by the Constitution? That is which schedule? First of all, tell me, first schedule is talking about list of states and territories. Second schedule, emoluments. Third schedule, oath and affirmations. Fourth schedule, it is talking about Rajya Sabha. Which schedule is talking about languages, official languages? It is 8th schedule, which is not in the option. It is 8th schedule. Correct? No? 8th schedule. 7th schedule is federal provision. Which schedule contains provisions related to administration and control of scheduled areas and scheduled tribes? In 4th, 16th. 16th is not there only. See, I will tell you. 5th is talking about scheduled areas and scheduled tribes. 6th is talking about tribal areas in AMTM. 6th is talking about 4 states only. Entire scheduled tribes and scheduled areas is 5th schedule. Okay, please remember this. Whenever I say scheduled areas and scheduled tribes, SC and ST is 5th. Okay, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram is 6th. Okay, remember like this. Got it? I know you will get confused in this question, that's why these questions are added. Okay. Which schedule deals with the allocation of seats in the Rajya Sabha? It is not in the option. Now, 8th schedule is what? 8th schedule is official language. 9th schedule is land reforms. 10th schedule is defection. 11th schedule is panchayat. Okay, it is 4th schedule. 4th schedule is talking about allocation of seats in the Rajya Sabha. Got it? Now, which schedule contains anti-defection provisions? 10th. Okay. What about 13th? There is no 13th schedule only. There are only 12 schedules. The 9th schedule of the Indian Constitution was introduced during the Prime Ministership of what? Yeah, good. Jawaharlal Nehru. Because first constitutional amendment 1952, it was introduced during Jawaharlal Nehru. 9th schedule, it is talking about land reforms. I think that's it. Okay, all right. I'll wind up now. Thank you. Let's meet in the next session. Okay. Please keep revising the notes. I'll share it with you. Okay. I'll wind up now. Let's meet in the next session. Take care.